I think we are live. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. कैसे हैं सब लोग? मेरा नाम है अरविंद और हम हैं हैदराबाद बॉयज और हमारे साथ है सौरभ.
Hello everyone. अभी I think day 3 खत्म हुआ है ऑस्ट्रेलिया इंग्लैंड का. At the moment, I think India batting. Yeah, I think India batting कर रही है. So lot of cricket action happening.
A lot of cricket action is happening. Yeah, it's raining where I'm here. It's Friday. We're just finishing the lunch time.
This is what Australia is hoping for tomorrow.
This is what Australia is hoping for tomorrow. Yeah. So so आज हम बात करेंगे. It's a live reaction video from us. काफी crowd cricket हुआ है. I thought we just do a quick reaction. The biggest one obviously is India versus West Indies. King Kohli finally 5 साल के बाद, almost 5 years के बाद, he has a test match century turn outside India. 121 runs मारा है कोहली ने, and okay, bizarrely got run out. जरूरत क्या थी वो रन की? I don't know, but I'll give the positives first. First century there in almost 5 years, and on a special occasion like 500th ODI, 500th cricket match of his career. And India is doing well. बोल सकते हैं अभी जैसे हम रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं लाइव यहाँ पे. India is now on day 2. 414 for 7 चल रहा है 122 overs खेल के. Actually जब हमने last time cover किया था, India was playing so slow and so defensive against West Indies. They've done marginally better now. You can see a run rate of 3.3. Jasprit scored a very good opening knock with Rohit Sharma. So there was an opening knock. It was not drab. It was a little bit more. थोड़ा intent दिखाया है, at least the top order ने. But yeah, the talk of the player is Virat Kohli. 121. Sort of what a game for him. After all the last 5 years of pressure and torture and finger pointing at him कि इनका time खत्म हो गया है. I think it's a statement back from him. Okay, ठीक है, opposition is West Indies. You had Kumar Roach and ऐसा भी नहीं है कि बुरी bowling थी. Zari Joseph थे, Jason Holder थे, Shannon Gabriel. It's not exactly a top tier bowling, but it is not also not a bad bowling.
Very bad. Yeah, I get it. So I think a very eventful match for Kohli. I think आपने बताया उनका 500th match था ये, if I got it right. और ये इंडिया और वेस्ट इंडीज का भी 100th गेम था. I think ऐसे पहले 2 ही टीम्स हैं जहाँ पे 2 अपोजिशन है जहाँ पे they have played 100 or more test matches. One is England, Australia. I'm not able to recollect the other one. So मैंने उनकी innings देखी. I think I possibly watched 50 to 60% of it. He looked way better than the first test match where he looked absolutely scratchy. This test match में, of course, I think pitch was very different. I think pitch was pretty flat. लेकिन at least he looked very good to bat on. So he looked comfortable. He looked comfortable. Chanceless innings thi, unlike the last time. So that's another positive. I think the biggest positive, if you're an Indian cricket fan, which we all are, is we are not too far away from World Cup. I know this is a different format, red ball, all that. Lekin whatever runs that he can get, I think Kohli would be the decisive player apart from likes of Gills and Rohit Sharma's. Everyone's going to be looking towards Kohli, and it's probably maybe his last World Cup. I don't know. I know we said the very same thing about Tendulkar when he played in 2007. So हो सकता है ये उनका last World Cup हो. I think anything that runs that he can get in the bag is a positive for India. I know जैसा आपने बोला कि quality of opposition yes is questionable. उनकी last इससे पहले century outside India was against Bangladesh. Again, not a recognized sort of a team. इससे पहले जो उनकी century आई थी was in Australia.
Bangladesh fans will disagree with you, sort of. Nice नहीं बोल सकते. Bangladesh fans will disagree with you. They are a good team now.
नहीं मतलब
by the way, एक
वो
और out हो गया.
बांग्लादेश के
It's 416 for 8. By the way, I mean, I don't want to interrupt you.
416 I think 416
Stump out
I think
हुआ है.
416 I think 416 वेस्ट इंडीज को मारने के लिए 3 इनिंग्स चाहिए होंगी.
Yeah, this
Unfortunately, we
was-
just have 2 innings, so we have only 2 innings. So I think any runs under the belt for Virat Kohli is a good news for Pakistan. I was saying Pakistan. Good news for India. Bad news for Pakistan.
Bad news for Pakistan.
Bad news for Pakistan. So I think irrespective of how he gets runs, I know we were very critical of his 76 runs that he scored in the first Test match. Lekin any runs under his belt, I think is a huge positive for him and Team India. So I think he just continue. I mean, I just hope he carries this form to the World Cup. I mean, that's the only hope that I have, because you need Virat Kohli at his peak during World Cup. I mean, to keep the World Cup alive, you need players like Virat Kohli, to be scoring and scoring it. And of course, I think he does relatively well in ODIs. So yeah, I think good return to back in form is what I would say.
And the partnership with Jadeja was fabulous. He had a 160 run partnership.
And they were under the pump. They were under the pump.
ऐसा नहीं था कि they were like coasting there. So there was a mini collapse there in terms of Rahane and then Gill, not Gill having another failure, and his partnership में Kohli scored 100 runs. That entire partnership, and obviously very well supported by Jadeja there. But yeah, I mean, 11 fours in the innings, I think remarkably, both of them, King Kohli, and I liked, obviously I liked the celebration there at the end, but gave a platform for India to win this game quite easily. I think it's also that thing, apne century mara hai aur you're making a stride towards series win. I think it's a 2 Test match series. Every of this will count towards World Test Championship. So match winning innings bol sakte hain Virat Kohli se, and so very, very happy. I mean, as you rightly said, as all Indian fans, we are all Kohli getting into runs, especially Test, will boost his confidence to the next level. I mean, वो था कि सर के पीछे होता था कि I haven't done this. I've done so much better. And when you're a top player, it's always on your mind to do more and more and do better and better. And quick monkey off the back pull sakte hain a Test match century away from India. I mean, it's kind of like the pressure is all lifted off. And I know that iske baad to one day mode chalega. But as you rightly said, with confidence, one day mein le aayenge, and I think it's going to be really beneficial for India in general. So, hats off to Kohli, hats off to India there for doing much, much better. I mean, kudos to also the entire group there on the other side. Ravindra Jadeja ne performance diya hai. Ashwin is still batting. Ashwin is a T5. Ashwin is really showing why he should have been there. I mean, not just wicket taking, but the runs in the lower middle order. The lower order here there. So I think overall, day 2 India is doing really, really well. 417 for 8 chal raha hai abhi. Ashwin and Siraj are playing. I think आपने जैसा सही बोला, उनको शायद वेस्ट इंडीज को शायद 2 या 3 innings लगेंगे. And I think for me the bizarre way was वो run out. अगर I think शायद वही ऐसे आउट होते हैं, because he would not have given the wicket away. He could have scored a big 200. And absolutely, so West Indies को कोहली को pavilion भेजना था, तो this was the only way for them. So I guess it worked out for them in that manner. So yeah, so that's the match. I mean, match अभी भी चल रहा है. I think मुझे लग रहा है कि India शायद will try to go to 450 and they will not declare it over here. So I see this continuing it forward there. And let's see what West Indies replies there from that point of time. Nothing much to talk about West Indies bowling there. Jumel Warrikan ne 2 wicket liye, including the one we just took right now, which we were talking. He took Rohit Sharma out. But otherwise, you had Kemar Roach ne 2 wicket, Holder ne 2 wicket. Kemar Roach and Joseph were actually expensive. They were not. Unko mara hai. They were running a 4th and a Test match were 3. So. Yeah.
Actually, first session mein, I think we were.
Yashasvi Jaiswal was really playing like.
So So we said
Baz-Ball तो
कि
नहीं
बहुत
बोलूंगा,
Baz-Ball
but
खेल रहे
he's
हैं.
like
Right,
bringing
right,
his
right.
whatever the T20 repertoire he used to do in IPL, a flavor of that to the test match. And I mean, I have to
Absolutely.
give kudos to Yashasvi Jaiswal again कि उन्होंने अपना एक फॉर्म बरकरार रखा है जो उन्होंने प्रीवियस मैच में ले गया. आई थिंक it brings a lot of questions to India's middle order, top order. Ki yaar, where does Rahul come into the play? Where does Pujara come into the play? And now will Gill continues to perform or underperform? Can there be opening? You know, these are all good problems for Indian team to have. So good thing to see Yashasvi Jaiswal performing like this away from India. So बहुत अच्छा लगा, बहुत अच्छा लगा. Sharma getting a 80. He could have had a century. I think. I don't know. He could have done it. But yeah, overall good start for India in 2 days. So ये था India West Indies. But I wanted to cover the next one, which actually I was watching. Honestly speaking, India West Indies was ठीक है. मैंने parts में कोहली का देख लिया थोड़ा बहुत. Parts में I mean I saw, but it was not drawing my attention as much as what's happening in Old Trafford. Ashes, fourth test, England Australia. England 1-1 down, want to win this to get to this fifth test or take it to the Ashes, the fifth test for them to win it. What an amazing सीरीज और मैच. क्या बोलेंगे हम आपको. मतलब इंग्लैंड ने जो वो हाइप था बैसबॉल का, they just delivered it today. Highest score in Ashes in almost 35 years, 37 years in one this thing. And Zach Crawley. Where do I start this one? I mean, मतलब I just want to give a background to the audience here कि हुआ क्या है जिसकी वजह से हम लोग इंडिया और वेस्ट इंडीज छोड़ के दूसरा गेम देख रहे हैं. I thought I'd give a quick snippet. ऑस्ट्रेलिया ने पहले बैटिंग करी 317. I think they won the toss and but decided to bat. They got out at 317. Really, the highest score was 51. That I think shows you why Australia ended up at 317. United Marnus Lavashin 370, 51 mara, Mitchell Marsh 51 mara. You had a lot of 40s. Travis at 48, Steve Smith 41, a lot of 30s. Mitchell Stark 36, David Warner 32. But really, none of them took off. And yeah, you got it wrapped up in 90 overs for 317. And then England came and showed everyone what Baz-Ball is really about. लोगों को पता नहीं है Baz-Ball क्या है. They needed to watch this exact England innings against an Australian attack, which is the World Test Championship attack, minus Nathan Lyon. That is. England lost Ben Duckett quickly, but but they had Jack Crawley and Moeen Ali as the makeshift number 3. पता नहीं था कि Moeen Ali कहाँ खेलेंगे, down order आएंगे या they would have let Harry Brook come at number 3, but Moeen Ali came at number 3. Fabulous partnership of almost 100 plus partnership between them, and they were going at a strike rate of 100 by Zach Crawley then. But the real dhamaka happened afterwards with Joe Root and Zach Crawley partnership. Blown Australia away to out of the park. The kind of innings Joe Root and Zach Crawley did. Then uske baad Brook, who came after that. Brook actually had an anti-Baz-Ball. But essentially these two, I think they had a partnership of almost 200, I believe so. And yeah, I think they had a partnership of 206 of 186 balls. The partnership was more than run a ball. Right. Joe Root scored 76 of that in 81, and Zach Crawley scored 119 in that partnership of 105. So they were smashing. I think at one point of time the run rate was 7-8. It was almost T20 red ball. Almost T20 red ball tha wo. All the players were thrown out to the park. Stark ho ya, what do you call? Hazelwood ho ya,
किसी को नहीं
trying to
छोड़ा।
recollect. किसी को नहीं छोड़ा, exactly. So what happened finally was ऐसा लग रहा था कि ये तो फिर you know it could go 500 almost on the day 2 itself. But then they got out. Zach Crawley 189 पे out हुए, and then you had Joe Root who got out at 84 eventually soon after that. And so then you had Ben Stokes and Harry Brook. थोड़ा underwhelming ending हुआ. मुझे लगा था कि they basically went a little bit cautious there. 384 for 4 पे end किया day. और आज जो हुआ वो धमाका रहा. Continued Johnny Bairstow scoring 99 of 81 balls, 4 sixes in that, and basically ensured England goes almost till 600. England ended the day in their innings at 592. Ben Stokes also scored a 50, but Johnny Bairstow were able to the tail enders and just smashed everyone to the park. Halat dekho, Saurav, I was looking at the bowling scorecard. Mitchell Stark is 2 for 137, economy of 5.5. Josh Hazlewood is 5. He's taken 5 wickets, but 126 runs at an economy rate of 4.6. Pat Cummins just took 1 wicket for 129, economy rate of 5.6. Travis Head bowled 7 overs at an economy rate of 7.4. Michelle Marsh bowled 9 overs at an economy rate of 6. They basically trashed everyone. Cameron Green was the only bowler, thoda respectable raha inka, this thing. And Australia just were smashed by the end of the day. They lost 3 wickets to Mark Wood, who was on fire. Australia ended the day at 113 for 4. Still need another 162 runs to save this test match. Avoid innings defeat. And they have 2 more days to play. Okay, rain ka have to have, but this was what England did. This is what Baz-Ball does to you when you don't know what hits you. So, Saurav, what was your reaction to all of this mayhem?
I think अभी तक के जो भी 3 टेस्ट मैच हुए हैं, they've been kind of neck on neck, and I think partly the way England has batted has made the game exciting. लेकिन आपको ये feel आया कि नहीं आया? लेकिन I think this possibly is the first game जहां मुझे लग रहा है it has kind of become one-sided, although it is exciting because the way England is playing. लेकिन मुझे लग रहा है कि this possibly is a one-sided sort of a game. I think Australia might get hammered. 1-2 wicket और, and I think the game is theirs. मुझे लग रहा है वही game is in England pockets. I think the most disappointing part for I think Australia was कि उन्होंने first दिन में batting करके 317 रन बनाए, as you just dictated the scorecard. I think everyone got in and they got out. I think that's the most disappointing part. I know Manas Nabushin की first half century थी series में, and he was desperately looking for one, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't looking for a 51. He possibly wanted to continue and convert it into the big one. And same for other players. I think everyone just came in, got in, but got out. 317 on that belter of a track, which was vindicated on day 2 and day 3. I think Australia missed a trick. I think 400 to banane hi. I mean, it was given they had to score 400 on this particular track.
Yeah.
And I think they missed the bill there. I think day 1 में वहाँ पे उनसे गलती हो गई, और what happened on day 2 was carnage. I think Zach Crawley, मुझे लग नहीं रहा है कि Australia takes Zach Crawley a little seriously. Maybe, I don't know. Zach Crawley और Ben Duckett, हालांकि Ben Duckett ने थोड़ी अच्छी innings खेली है, लेकिन I think even I was kind of a little surprised at the length of his innings. I mean, I was not surprised by his approach. आपने देखा है कि ये first 3 matches में उन्होंने थोड़े starts दिए, 40, 50, 60. I think in one of the innings he also scored 70, 80 if I'm right. लेकिन the length of this innings and the number of runs that he basically scored, this is somewhere I was out now. मैं ये नहीं सोच रहा था कि वो इतना मार लेंगे. He almost got a double 100, which I wasn't expecting. मैंने इनकी एक innings देखी है पाकिस्तान के साथ. I remember this is during the COVID time, and he played very well. So he has
the one where they
170
visited Pakistan? Is it they went to Pakistan? Is that
no
Pakistan visited England? Yeah.
England this is one of the first series during the COVID time. So I have seen that sort of an innings. Lekin batting at this pace for so long, I mean, this was a little surprising. Lekin what a fantastic inning. I think it kept me, hooked up to the test match for the entire day two. I think मैंने पूरा day two देखा. पूरा day two देखा, thanks to Zach Crawley, thanks to Joe
मैंने
Root.
हाँ second session से पूरा देखा था और second session.
So Joe Root, I think Joe Root का, I think, I mean, if he's scoring quite good, आपको वो reverse sweep वाला 4 या 6 आपको दिखेगा ही दिखेगा, and he again did it. He did it against Mitch Marsh, not a frontline bowler, like he has done it with Neil Wagner. He has done it with almost every other bowler. So that's nothing that should surprise. वो भी 90 के strike rate पे खेले. I think day two was completely dominated by England. 384 जैसे ही बन गए थे, I think the day was kind of sealed. All that basically was required finishing touches from Stokes and Barristow and likes of Harry Brooks, which they provided. Felt sorry for Barristow. He scored 99, but he did the required job, I think. और जैसे I think 500 के ऊपर चला गया score and the lead went beyond 200. I think it was curtains for Australia. I think the only hope that I basically had was that Steve Smith or Labuschagne, they score big. I think Steve Smith is already out. I think Labuschagne is still playing, if I'm right. So
Labuschagne
or out again.
No, he's still around.
Yeah, he's still around.
He's with Marsh.
Because Steve Smith was desperately required for Australia. He can play long and he can play relatively quickly as well on occasions. Like if Steve Smith be out of game, you just have 2 or 3 recognized batsmen left. Cameron Green is looking very patchy as far as his batting is concerned. So I think come tomorrow, and I know there is prediction of rain tomorrow and day after, but I think at the bare minimum, I think with 6 sessions that we basically have, I think England would be thinking कि हमको 2 sessions मिल जाए. At the bare minimum, I think
one session and they can wrap up.
Could be, but you got to give a little amount of respect to.
No. I'm saying if they have, if they need, ball, cloudy conditions, ball is swinging, seaming. You don't know, the pitch is damp.
That's another thing. That's
what I'm saying. And after this, you're looking at Cameron Green and Alex Carey essentially. The tail is starting to come. आपने अगर Mariners को quickly out किया, England could see, I just need 25-30 overs to wrap this up. I mean, if the conditions fall into their favor, they can do it. By the way, एक और out हुआ है.
I think 450
yeah, I think 426 for 9 रहा है यहाँ पे.
So I don't know if you have anything further to add on England Australia. लेकिन एक चीज मैं जरूर बोलूँगा. I think Australia is not looking ruthless, and that's been my complaint with Australia since some time. I know it's not the old Australia of late 90s and early 2000s, लेकिन they are not ruthless. I think जब England के भी जल्दी ही एक विकेट गिर गई थी when during the first innings, I think they were pretty defensive as far as the field placements was concerned, and certain other tactics as well. वो एक killer instinct somewhere I just feel, they tend to lack on certain occasions. And that reflects on the bowling scores. You just went through the bowling card as well. Hardly any frontline bowler who hasn't gone for runs. All the 3 frontline bowlers went for plenty of runs. So it kind of speaks volumes, and why England has kind of scored 500 odd runs in merely, let's say, 3.5 sessions, if I'm honest, or let's say 4 sessions, which is quite a lot number of runs. अगर किसी टीम में 500 से ज़्यादा रन बना दिए हैं 4 sessions में, there's plenty wrong in your bowling, and
yeah,
that's what it shows.
No, absolutely right. Absolutely. I think Australia will need rain to save them. They want full day washout and all of that. मैं थोड़े stats देख रहा था on this one. So England's run rate is the 3rd highest in the history of Test cricket, or anyone who scored more than 500 runs. Every top 2 भी England है, by the way. ऐसा नहीं है कि England was the first one. Pakistan के साथ last year 657 मारा है.
Oh, I remember that.
That was at a run rate of 6.5, and then they did Ireland के साथ 524. That was a run rate of 6.3, and this was 5.5, almost 5.5. That in Ashes, in a series where they need to win this, masterclass.
against
And
a quality bowling attack.
against a quality bowling line. And England का जो score है, पहली बार they have crossed 500 runs in an Ashes at home in 40 years, which I was telling you. Johnny Bairstow becomes the second person after Steve Waugh, actually third after Jeffrey Boycott in 79, 80. Get out to be unbeaten on 99. Century नहीं मार पाया. Zach Crawley's century was in 93 balls. It is the second fastest in Ashes. And the last time it happened was in 19th century, 1898.
Oh, wow.
That is the impact of Zach Crawley. And it's also the fourth fastest by an England batter in the Ashes. So the first one was, I'm talking opening batsman. Opening batsman, he's the second fastest in more than 100 years. Fourth fastest in the entire Ashes ke England batting. You know who the top three or the top three entries are? Ian Botham, 1981 Ashes, twice. He scored century in 86 ball. And then the legendary Gilbert Jessup, 1902 Ashes, where he scored a century of 76 ball. So and partly मुझे लग रहा था कि he would also get into that Sehwag mode of one of the fastest double century. Sehwag did that twice or thrice in his career, and he would have made his entry into that one. Yeah, so the last time it happened at this venue, the last person to do it was Ian Botham. The other stat was the run rate between the partnership जो मैंने बोल रहा था ना, Jack Crawley और Joe Root जो Baz-Ball smash हुआ. It's the fastest double century stand in Test cricket by run rate. The last time was the highest is also England player Ben Stokes and Johnny Bairstow, who they added 400 runs in 48 overs. So this is the kind of mayhem they just did, and again against Australian bowling. So this is the kind of massive impact they have done in this Test match. So I think they're favorites to win it unless until if rain comes and destroys their hope. Right. By the way, just a quick note: Ashwin just scored his 52 for not out, 434 for 9.
Oh, did he just hit a 6?
He hit a 4. He hit a 4. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll end with the one last update. I think हमारे पास टॉपिक्स से बात करने का दो हुआ था 2 दिन पहले. श्रीलंका पाकिस्तान, हमारे पाकिस्तान दर्शकों के लिए एक अच्छी खुशखबरी वहां पे है इनके लिए कि they won after a long time. शायद 1 साल हो गया, if I remember right. They won by 4 wickets. Sri Lanka scored 312. Highest score था DDS Dhananjay Silva, who was supported by Angelo Mathews. सबने विकेट्स लिए. शहीन शाह ने 3 विकेट लिए, नसीम शाह ने 3 विकेट लिए, अबरार अहमद, I actually do not know him. May have not seen him before, I guess. 3 wickets उन्होंने भी लिए. Yeah, essentially Pakistan scored 312. मुझे लगा 312 was a good score. Sorry, Sri Lanka scored 312. मुझे लगा Pakistan would struggle, and they did. Well, they were at one point of time 68 or 70 for 4. Shan Masood scored 39. Babar Azam scored 13. Babar Azam had a failure. Imam Ullah got out cheap. But the star of the game was Saud Shakeel and a partnership with Aga Salman, 83. Aga Salman actually played very well, actually. And then there was Noman Ali coming and supporting him at the end. But Saud Shakeel scored a double century, 461 runs. Amazing. 461, and I think they would put them in the driver's seat. Ramesh Mendes ने 5 wickets लिए हैं. But yeah, I mean DDS played again well. Dhananjay Silva 82 runs उन्होंने मारा है वापस. But it was never going to be enough when when your opposition has this thing. And by the way, the game. Sorry, I'm just interrupting. The India-Australia game is over. 4:30 at all out. Ashwin got out bowled.
Okay.
Yeah, so Shaheen Shah picked 2 wickets. Abrar Ahmed ne 3. Noman Ali ne 3. Ramesh Mendes scored again 42, but Nishan Madushkan ne 52 mara, but 279. Pakistan needed what, 132 to win?
Yeah,
They had
132 win.
yeah, they had another small collapse. Like Noman Ali got duck. Shan Masood had a failure. They were 38 for 3. And then Babar Azam did not do well. Well, total इतना ज़्यादा नहीं था, but he got out as well. और Shakeel got out. तो शायद लगा कि थोड़ा और रन होता तो इंटरेस्टिंग होता, but sorry, target was
Interesting.
130. Maybe another 50-60 runs would have been very interesting, this thing, but at the end, Pakistan won the game by 4 wickets. Jasprit had to call 4 wickets though in of the 6 wickets they have done. So that's something maybe they'll take that thing. But day 5 the game gaya, by the way, or yeah, got done on day 5. Out Shakeel.
Yeah, actually मैंने ये मैच देखा and I actually liked the game. अच्छी pitch थी. It had almost everything for everyone. Batsmen ने आपने देखा 100 मारे हैं, 2 from both the sides. Shaheen Afridi, I think I have to say this. I think Shaheen Afridi is the most devastating new ball bowler. I know Mitchell Stark के credentials थोड़े strong हैं, and Mitchell at this moment, I think Mitchell Stark, let's say before 2016, he was one of the deadliest, new ball bowlers. Lekin at this moment, maybe for the last 1.5 or 2 years, I think he is a very crazy good left arm seam bowler. And I was a little surprised. Ball थोड़ी सी swing हो रही थी, हल्की सी, लेकिन आपको सबको मालूम है सबकॉन्टिनेंट में इतना बॉल स्विंग नहीं होता है, लेकिन इन दोस कंडीशंस ही वाज एबल टू गेट विकेट्स. आई नो श्रीलंका के बैट्समैन, बट आई वुडंट से करुणारत्ने इज अ बैड बैट्समैन. ही इज अ गुड बैट्समैन.
He's good batsman.
Actually श्रीलंका के सारे बैट्समैन दे आर क्वाइट गुड. They are not world class, but they're quite good. But barring 1 wicket, which is quite lucky, I think, leg side pe ball thi and someone nicked it. He bowled very well, and I think that was the turning point, because Sri Lanka first day pay where the batting condition is usually good. Sri Lanka was kind of scoring at 4 runs per over on the first day, which kind of shows the pitch was good. It's just that first few overs the ball usually swings and seams a bit. They just couldn't handle those first few overs from Shaheen Afridi. They lost, I think, first 4 wickets in 54. I think 50 or 60 kuch runs there. If I remember that right. They did quite well to get to 312. जैसे आपने बताया, Pakistan was struggling. Not only 68 for 4, they were 101 for 5. So essentially, last 5 wickets. So essentially, last 5 wickets basically added more than 350 runs, which is 360 runs. Another not surprising, I think the frustrating part for Sri Lanka was कि उनके जो last tail end पिचलकू बैट्समैन जैसे हिंदी में बोलते हैं, उन्होंने काफी साथ दिया साउद शकील का. फैंटास्टिक पार्टनरशिप बाय साउद शकील एंड आगा सलमान. ये दोनों को मैंने इंग्लैंड के खिलाफ देखा था. आई नो दे आर बैटिंग ऑन little batting friendly sort of conditions. हालांकि श्रीलंका की is not a exact highway which they played in Pakistan, लेकिन still a subcontinent pitch, they're quite used to it. लेकिन you got to give kudos to those two. Under pressure they did well. Prabhat Jasuria is not a bad bowler. Prabhat Jasuria is almost a buddy bowler to Babar Azam.
And the part which is interesting was Naseem Shah did a partnership with Saud Shakeel. You know how much time Naseem Shah spent on the pitch? He spent almost 3 hours.
3 hours. And which is very unlike Pakistan tailenders. Which is very unlike Pakistan.
He was supporting him. 6 runs of 78 balls.
Yeah.
He did his job of being with him.
And I think the other thing, I think Sri Lanka fielded badly. I think Saud Shakeel का एक बहुत ही easy catch था which got dropped. हालांकि Saud Shakeel ने उस time तक 100 मार दिया था, लेकिन the lead could have been very limited, which eventually turned out to be quite critical, क्योंकि 130 बनाने में पाकिस्तान के पसीने छूट गए थे एक time तक. So अगर 200-250 होते, I think that could have been a very decent total. So Sri Lanka would be disappointed. Sri Lanka would be disappointed because they just couldn't grasp certain key moments. 101 for 5, 278 for 6, still not a bad position to be in. क्योंकि 278 for 6 if you could have restricted Pakistan to 350, पाकिस्तान की जो पिछलकू बैट्समैन है, टेलेंडर्स हैं, they are not that great. नौमन अली ने 25 रन बना दिए, जैसे आपने बोला नसीम शाह 78 बॉल्स खेल गए. I think last 10th wicket या last wicket की partnership was also quite substantial.
Yep.
I think that kind of killed the match for Sri Lanka. I think they just couldn't seize the opportunity. Batting करते वक्त भी first innings में when Angelo Matthews and I think Ranger De Silva, they were playing quite well. Angelo Matthews has this knack, he scores 50s and 60s, and that's been very frustrating of Angelo Matthews. आप उनका देखेंगे average, it's very good, 45, 46. लेकिन I mean जैसे सिद्धू बोलते थे ना, statistics दिखाता कम है. He has that very famous quote of him comparing stats with skirts. I'm not going to get into that. लेकिन उनका average 40s में है, late 40s में है, I think 45, 46 है, लेकिन ये ज्यादातर 50, 60, 70 में आउट हो जाता है. That's been very, very frustrating of Angelo Matthews. So they just couldn't grab the opportunities. नहीं तो ये श्रीलंका could have won this match. Could have won this match. It was a good game. Yeah. It was a good game. मुझे लग रहा था कि 38 for 3 है. What if Babar gets out early? लेकिन बाबर की वो innings थोड़ी crucial थी. He scored 24 and 28 balls. उस time पे someone needed to score relatively quickly because they were batting on the final day. Ball for a turn one. So I think a good victory for Pakistan. I think this is the first victory after 6. I don't know. I don't know if they played a test match after England left. I know they lost 6 matches on the trot versus England and Australia. So a welcome victory for sure. I'm not sure if they played versus New Zealand. No, they didn't play a test match versus New Zealand. They played a series and T20 series. So welcome victory for Pakistan. I think it's going to do a lot of good for Pakistan and Pakistan cricket. They are on the top of the WC table. I know एक ही match हुआ है उनका, लेकिन something to feel proud of.
I'm sure our viewers from Pakistan would love that. Absolutely. But yeah, they have a game day after tomorrow. Colombo में हो रहा है इस बार. That one would be the final test for this Sri Lanka Pakistan, because उसके बाद सारा focus will start to move to ODI very soon. I thought we'll end this segment of our Plays live stream with the news updates जो हो रहा है cricket में. Big news, Asia Cup schedule is out. This week, 2 दिन पहले आया था. The match, India-Pakistan, is on September 2nd in Kandy, Colombo. Sorry, Kandy, Sri Lanka. Sorry. First game हो रहा है Pakistan-Nepal के साथ. That's in Multan. Then you got Bangladesh, Sri Lanka is playing on 31st in Kandy, and then Pakistan-India will be the third game at Kandy again. उसके बाद people are moving between Lahore and Kandy and Multan and Colombo. So basically 4 ही venues हैं. It's Multan, Lahore, Colombo and Kandy. Finals Colombo में हो रहे हैं. And so a super force जो हो रहा है after the original, the first 6 teams to play will be splitting between Lahore में एक ही game होगा, but next 5 games is all Colombo. So that's going to be probably 2 times India and Pakistan would meet again. I would think India-Pakistan will qualify from the top 6 to the 4s. So we may get to see India-Pakistan 3 times if they end up in final 2. So this is going to be a really, really, really exciting time for India-Pakistan cricket. Neutral venues पे India-Pakistan cricket होने वाला है in Colombo in September, possibly 3 times. September 2nd से लेके September 17th तक this could happen. For all our India-Pakistan cricket lovers, that this is the day for us we should be looking at. But yeah, this is the first one. So Babar Azam versus Kohli. Kohli ने century मारा है. Babar Azam had a failure. I think within just 4 weeks we can start the Babar versus Kohli debate leading up to the World Cup. I mean, this is perfect time for Asia Cup to come in. Perfect time for Kohli to hit a century. Perfect time for Babar to not have a good test game. He still has 1 more test. Obviously, Pakistan has that advantage of playing in Colombo already. 4 weeks पहले थोड़ा उनको aa raha hai and India is going to come from West Indies and all that. But these guys are professionals that they know how to travel, and just so exciting news.
It's a trailer before the big one in the World Cup.
Yep.
I think it's going to be exciting for all the cricket fans. I think इस साल I don't know ऐसा हुआ है कि नहीं. I think it must have been a very long time.
Very long time that they could play 4 times.
4 games in a span of 2-3 months.
2 months. This
I
is.
think,
the last time it happened, we didn't have social media. We didn't had all of this globalization.
I think the last time possibly was
T20 हुआ है.
भी 2-3 बार.
हाँ वही 2-3 बार T20 में हुआ है. But I'm talking run up to World Cup and a proper ODI cricket. ठीक है, ODI का थोड़ा charm उड़ा हुआ है as opposed to T20. But kind of like the old school format when India Pakistan have always met in World Cups and old back then Singer Cup and the बचपन की memories जो बोल सकते हैं. It's been a long time and I can remember India and Pakistan playing like this. And good thing it's all in neutral venues. Let's put it that way.
Right.
So, politics can take a sidestepping for a couple of days.
For some time.
Yeah. So I think मुझे लग रहा है कि वो न्यूज़ देख के मुझे लग रहा था ये मैंने देखा था कि इस बार जसप्रीत बुमराह is back in football. Back in cricket nets. He's balling, and he's gonna improve his fitness by playing some. What do you call that? Playing some competitive fitness matches. Trying to practice games. जो NCL लगाएगा, I think for them. He and Prasadh Krishna both are back in training. India के लिए another good news is KL Rahul and Shreyash Iyer also are recovering. But the biggest news is Rishabh Pant is also recovering better than expected. He is making progress and he's apparently also started resuming batting and keeping activities. And
very surprising.
Very surprising.
I don't think so. They should rush Rishabh Pant.
I hope they should not. They cannot rush him to him. And then, they cannot get him the World Cup के लिए. Let's get him ready. But जो मैंने पढ़ा है वो कह रहे हैं कि he has nets में he started to bat again. He started to do the wicket keeping activities again in the nets. उनका एक fitness program डिजाइन किया हुआ है जहाँ पे he focuses on strength, getting the recovery back, running a bit, flexibility and all of that. So India's 5 players, Rahul, Iyer, Pant, Bumrah and Prasidh Krishna. Well, okay, Prasidh Krishna has been in and out. That is serious firepower to what is existing lineup today we have today. And so I think India would be really looking at Rahul, Iyer, Bumrah, Biho. I think Bumrah I think what's happening is India is playing a T20 series with Ireland somewhere in August and middle of August. And so they are saying कि शायद उनको वहाँ पे लगाएं to get his fitness. And then they're going to play Asia Cup. And then उसके बाद they will be hosting Australia. And then there is World Cup. So I think Bumrah is looking at World Cup, my take, to get back in.
हाँ, I think ये बहुत ही बड़ी न्यूज़ होगी Indian cricket fans के लिए if Bumrah can make a comeback. I'm very skeptical of his not fitness. I think जिम में अगर कोई चला जाता है और थोड़े clips release हो जाते हैं, I wouldn't call that as a merit for passing the fitness. I think what he basically requires is to pass is the bowling fitness, and I think precursor for that would be how he basically performs against the likes of Ireland and whatever games that we would have before World Cup. Can he bowl all the 4 overs, 10 overs? I think that would be the key. But if he can make a comeback, I know I've been saying that India is not the favorites per se, but if Bumrah can come back, I'm pretty sure I would rate India very high after England and on par with Australia to be the favorites for sure. India is one of the favorites, but not outright favorites. They are playing in their home. I think spinners are going to play a very key role. But Bumrah, I mean, I don't need to tell everyone. He's the key. He holds the key as far as fast bowling is
Yeah,
concerned.
so the news coming out from the BCCI is he is in his final stage of his rehab, and he has made apparently very good progress in the recovery, all of it. And so what they're saying is NCA will allow these players to do some practice games and then assess them from a final fitness. Are they ready to get into this thing? उनके लिए games organize कर रहे हैं under physio. So they're watching his road, but the big update is Bumrah is back in his last stage of rehab. So it could be a game changer. India is 4 months away from World Cup. Bumrah can recover in the next 3 months. I think he's in. I think he will be in.
Yeah, I think he's fit. He's in.
Yeah, if he's fit, he's in. And I think if he's in, then India's change of bowling is completely changed. I mean, we don't know how he is going to bowl after the injury, but the fact that he's in the team will give a lot of confidence to the entire team. That, and if Rishabh Pant is around, I will be surprised if Rishabh Pant will play. But if Rishabh Pant is, let's say, even in the nets or even with the team, morale boosting, all of that, because he's gone through a life event here. I think that's just going to give a lot more positive mental game state to the Indian teams. I think India is going to benefit from all of this. So absolute cracker. I think we're looking for India, Pakistan, and then all of these guys coming back. Absolute cracker. I think I think these were the main two news items I had. I was looking at other things. Is there anything else you had in your mind, Sarah? I think
that's it. I think there is a lot of drama happening in PCB and PCB board. I think we don't need to talk about that. But yeah, I think you kind of covered the top.
I think Baki cricket to ho hi raha hai. Yahan pe MLC cricket is still ongoing. I mean, that's a fabulous fun game. They're all doing really, really well. मुझे पता चला recently Canada में भी T20 format हो रहा है, which is Toronto Nationals, Vancouver Hawks, and I found out there are good players there. Fakhar Zaman is playing there. Shahid Afridi is still around. Rafi Vander Dusen is still playing there. So I think मैंने एक और player को देखा था. If I am trying to remember और कौन था. I fairly felt कोई और था. If I could be wrong. Yeah, I mean, you had Fabian Allen, again, international. This thing, Colin Munro is still around there. Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. And look at it where they're playing. They're playing in Brampton. Brampton is where the entire India is. I mean, this is what I'm unable to understand. BCCI is missing the trick or क्या कि I think ये पहला ये था. So it's like Mississauga Panthers, Brampton Buffaloes. Chris Gale is playing. Look at it. I mean, obviously Chris Gale is past the peak, but now they're bringing in these guys. Shoaib Malik is the captain there. What else is there? Mark Chapman, Colin de Grandehome. Tim Saudi is the captain. It's like football में जो है वो cricketers Europe में जाके उड़ के and then they'll go to Saudi Arabia or USA. I mean, it's nice. I mean, कितने teams खेल रहे हैं इसमें? There are like 8 teams: Brampton Wolves, Mississauga Panthers, Montreal Tigers, Surrey Jaguars, Toronto Nationals, and Vancouver Knights. And imagine 6 here and then 6 of USA. You can make it to a league, North American league. And opportunities endless for T20. But yeah, I think the only other news which I saw was Pakistan, to prepare for the World Cup, T20 World Cup, which is for the next year, is postponing, I think, a West Indies series. They're adding some T20s versus New Zealand because next year's T20 is in USA. And so they want to give them, I guess, a little bit more this thing. I think West Indies ke saath they were planning to play in January, February 2024. Now they're playing in 2025. And in place of that, they're going to play in New Zealand ke saath a trip. And so the news is they'll be playing 20 T20s between now and 2024 World Cup. Considering how Pakistan has played little over the last few years, and we have not seen many of them in action. This was an interesting series. So that's probably going to come in January. I thought that was another interesting. They made a revision there. So if you look at the Pakistan squad, and I'll end it with this one. So they're playing Sri Lanka right now. They have an Asia Cup in September. Then there's a World Cup for them. Then they'll go to Australia for 3 tests. Then there'll be New Zealand for these ODIs. Then New Zealand is coming into Pakistan. And then Pakistan goes to Netherlands, Ireland, and England. And then there is a T20 World Cup in June in USA. So that's kind of like the whole run-up for the Pakistan group there. So interesting to see what our rivals are doing. But yeah, that's probably it. I think हमने काफी कुछ cover कर लिया. Yeah, I think that's a wrap for us. West Indies ने शुरू कर लिया batting. It's not out. First ball has just been bowled by Siraj, Carlos Braithwaite, Craig Braithwaite, and Chandra Paul on the crease there. Yeah. So that's what we had for today. I think we had covered a lot of good stuff on cricket happening. So if you liked our content, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Please share with your friends and family. Give us comments. I mean, you liking this? What is the other content you want us to make? Please hit that like button. Really, बहुत helpful होगा हमारे लिए. 5 seconds भी नहीं लगेंगे, but it's really going to help us in our algorithm, in the algorithm of YouTube for our own channel, for our channel, which we're trying to get it up and running. I think हम 3 महीने से अब कर रहे हैं. थोड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है हमें. हम करना और चाहते हैं तो just give us that like, subscribe. Just give that love to us, and I think we will continue to do more and more good videos. So there's more encouragement for us to do more. So that's all we had.
Yep.
All right then. Okay, we'll talk again later. Yeah.
I think कल करेंगे या परसों करेंगे, depending upon when England wraps up Australia.
Yeah, we could do another quick live stream reaction if England wraps up to
maybe tomorrow.
take a track.
Yeah.
Right.